man. Hey, kids. Hey. Well, hey. First of all, happy Mother's Day. Welcome to TC3, kids. Week service and happy Mother's Day. Now, whoever your mom is or whoever you call your mom or moms, just know that you are loved and that you are cherished and you should do something special for that very special person today. Whether today it's Mother's Day or maybe you're watching this later on in the week. But I have a dilemma here, guys. I have a sort of serious dilemma here. I have this itch to have chocolate right now. I feel like I really got to eat some sort of chocolate and candy right now. Now, I could go with one of two choices here. One, I have, of course, Butterfingers. Now, I could eat a Butterfingers, and let me tell you something. If God could smile any bigger than a Butterfingers candy bar, I don't know what that would look like, but that's like one of my choices. Or I could have a Kit Kat Thin, like diet Kit Kats, and here's the thing. I have to have lunch with a friend of mine later on today, and I don't want to ruin my lunch by eating too much chocolate. Now, I could probably have like one of these and be okay and still be able to eat my lunch and not be like oh, bloated and all like help me. But or I could have like one or two of these Kit Kat Thins and be better off. What do you think? Yeah, you know what? I need your help. I need your help with this, guys. Let me know. You can let's take 60 seconds and let me know what you think. Should I eat the Butterfingers or should I show a little more discipline and know that I can have a couple of these Kit Kat Thins? And are there any candy bars that make you go crazy too, that make you think, I gotta have one right now? Take 60 seconds and talk about it and see what you come up with. Welcome back. So what do you think I should do? Should I go with the Butterfingers or the Kit Kat Thins and show a little more control? I really don't want to ruin my lunch for my friend, but you can send that answer to me, whatever you came up with, to Andy@TC3.church. That's right. Send an email to me, Andy@TC3.church. Let me know what you think I should do. Now, I'm getting way off topic here, but you know what it is time to do? It is time to get into our Bible here as we go through our Bible and continue reading our Bible in a year. That's right. We get to read our Bible in a year. We get to read it from the front of the cover to the back of the cover. And we're doing that in a brand new series here called This or That. And the whole series is going to be about people who have life full of hard choices to make. Now, those hard choices that they make are going to help build the church. Maybe your life is full of hard choices, but God's going to use you in the most amazing way to build the most epic church. Now, before we get any further into it, the first thing we have to do every week, we need to go to battle. We're going to go to battle. So make sure that if you're by yourself, that's okay. You can battle your own mind, your own smarts. If somebody's with you, or if there are two or more people watching, you can put yourself into two teams, okay? Whatever your teams are, you get to pick. But before we go to battle, we got to come up with some epic team names, all right? Now, I'm going to come up with your team names here. I've got a bunch of random words in these buckets, and if you're by yourself, you can pick which team name you want to be. If you're on teams, if you have two or more people watching, you're going to have to choose who's going to be what team name. All right, so here we go. I'm going to pick a name here. All right, I got a bunch of papers here. All right, here we go. The first team is going to be the Stinky Skillets. Okay, so one team is going to be the Stinky Skillets, okay? And the other team, here, let me put those right there. The other team is going to be the Marvelous, what else do we have here? The Marvelous, Marvelous Butter. So we have Team Marvelous Butter and Team Stinky Skillets. All right. Now, we're going to ask these questions. And if you get it right, you get a point for your team. And the team that has the most points at the end, you get to be, well, I guess you're the winner, the awesome winner. Now, today we're going to start a whole series here of This and That by talking about our first Bible story of the series about the stoning of Stephen. That's right, the stoning of Stephen. It doesn't sound really good, does it? Look at that. Oh my goodness, that guy looks like he's going to have some hard choices right there. So really like rock hard choices. That was a joke, but it's not really that funny. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But here we go. In the beginning, guys, we got to go back a little bit and understand the history of the church. Jesus, of course, as we know, he's died and he's gone to heaven. Well, he died, he came back again, he's gone back to heaven, but he's left his 12 disciples in charge of making and building and growing the church. And these 12 men were doing that. They were building the church and it was growing and it was really, really super exciting time. The problem is, there's only 12 of them. And the 12 men, well, they had a hard life because there were a lot of people who were hungry, a lot of people who were needing money and clothes, and they were needing help. Well, let me ask you this. Here's our first question of the day. We're going to put this question on the screen, this or that, and you get to decide which one it is. So we're going to drop that on the screen right now. I'm going to read it right here. Here we go. So what was the first thing that these 12 men did? Was it this or that? Did they build a new church building? Was built to fit everyone? Did they build a mega church building? Or were 7 helpers were chosen? What do you think happened? I'll give you 2 seconds to decide what is this. Did they build a mega church? Or did they pick 7 more people to help build the church? What do you think happened? All right, you got your answer. Make sure your answer's out there. All right, the answer is, of course, the 7 helpers were chosen. That's right, 7 helpers were chosen. So the 12 disciples picked 7 people. One of those people was a guy named Stephen. Stephen was awesome. Everybody loved Stephen. He was a smart guy. He was well educated, and people and the disciples and the people who were followers of Jesus, they loved what Stephen had to say. He made sense, and it was really grace and love. But here's the thing: a lot of people didn't like that. They didn't like Stephen because of these things. There's some people, so let's throw the next question on. What do you think happened next? Let's see. Did the unbelievers throw Stephen into a deep pit because they didn't like what he had to say? Or did the unbelievers start telling lies about Stephen? What do you think they did? Did they throw him into a pit, or did they start spreading lies about him? This or that? Make your choice. Come on now, think about it. Think about you stinky skillets and you marvelous butters. What do you think happened? Think about it. 3, 2, 1. Well, the answer is the unbelievers started telling lies about Stephen. That's right, they were telling these horrible, horrible lies about Stephen. And they just continued to spread so many false truths. They were saying things like, Stephen is saying that Jesus is going to destroy all the churches. He's going to destroy the temples, and and Jesus is this and that. He's all these lies, and it was ugly. It got really ugly really, really, really fast. Stephen kept saying all these things and about the truths about what Jesus was all about, and these other guys were like, we don't like Stephen because he's too smart for us. So they started telling all these lies. Well, what happened when they started telling all these lies? Here's our next question. You ready for this? Okay, question number 3. What happened next? Was Stephen arrested and dragged to court, or was Stephen thrown on a boat and shipped to an island? They say, hey, just get him out of here. Just put him on a boat and get rid of the dude. Or did they throw him into court and put him on trial? What do you think happened? All right, make sure. So stinky skillets and marvelous butters, think about it, what you're going to come up with, okay? Think about it. 3, 2, 1, boom. Stephen was arrested and dragged to court. Yeah. So they took Stephen. They took him and they threw him into a court. And it wasn't a very fair court. You see, all these high officials that thought they knew everything. Maybe you know somebody like that. I know everything. And they started paying people even. And they got everybody else encouraged to say things about Stephen, say all these lies about Stephen. Oh my goodness. He got really, really Stephen got discouraged, I'm sure. I'm sure he did. He didn't do anything wrong. And these people were coming up with all these lies and horrible, horrible things to say about him. But he stuck his ground, though. He stuck his ground, and he stayed where he was supposed to. He stayed the right course. What would God want me to do? He'd want me to stay true to his word and keep preaching the way that I've been doing it. Well, he did. And he actually did that. He continued to do so. As long as he was able to do it in court, he was able to do these things. And so Stephen didn't do anything wrong. The lies were so huge, it was just really hard to ignore. In fact, if you read in the book of Acts, in Acts chapter 7, verses 48 and it says this. It says that Stephen said, however, the Most High courts live in the house made by men, as the prophet says, heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. What kind of house will you build for me? This is what Stephen is saying to all the court officials. Says the Lord, has not my hand made all these things? And this is where it gets a little tricky here. Stephen says, you stiff-necked people, you uncircumcised hearts and ears, you are just like your fathers. You always resist the Holy Spirit. Was there ever a prophet your fathers did not persecute? They even killed those who persecuted the coming of the righteous one. And now you have betrayed and murdered him. Talking about Jesus, and other really big, important people too. Well, at this point, it got a little bit crazy. What do you think happened next? Let's try the next question here. Here you go. All right, so what happened next? Did heaven open up and Jesus appear to Stephen, or did the chains miraculously fall off of Stephen and he ran away? Ooh, that's a tricky question. Did Jesus appear to Stephen and this vision and open up in front of him? Or did the chains that he was bonded by in prison by in the court fall off and Stephen was able to just get away? What do you think happened? Oh, this is going to be a hard one. This might make or break some of your scores here. You ready for it? The answer is, boom. Heaven opened up and Jesus appeared to Stephen. That's right. Stephen was able to see Jesus and something crazy happened at that point. It was amazing to watch this. As soon as he was saying this, as soon as he said these things, heaven opened up and everybody became fuming mad. The court officials were so offended they covered their ears and they were like, la, 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 I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I can't hear you. They didn't want to hear what Stephen had to say. It just got really, really ugly really fast. And because they were so mad at Stephen, what do you think happened next? This or that? Here's the last one. You ready for this? Here it is. Did the members of the Sanhedrin, or the court, did the members of the Sanhedrin tell Stephen to never come back, or the members of the Sanhedrin begin throwing stones at Stephen? Well, did they just say, hey, don't ever come back here and show your face here again? We're like, dude, we're just going to start chucking rocks at you. Which one did they start doing? Well, 3, 2, 1. The members of the Sanhedrin began throwing big stones at Stephen. You see, there was a way of taking care of people they don't like back then. It was called stoning. And stoning, well, it required a lot of people standing around the person that was guilty. Everybody would pick up rocks, and then, like on the count of 3, they would all start throwing these rocks at the person, aiming for their head and the whole body. And we're not talking about little pebbles that you would put in your goldfish tank. We're talking about some heavy-duty pieces of weights. And the idea was that the person would die from it. So many rocks would hurt this person and hit them so hard that they would eventually give up their life. And as soon as this happened, this is what happened. As soon as this happened, check this out. And we're going back in here into Acts chapter 7. As they covered their ears and they were yelling at the top of their voices, they all rushed at him. They dragged him out of the city. They began to stone him. Meanwhile, the witnesses laid their clothes at the feet of a young man named Saul. And we're going to talk about Saul later on. You might know him. But while they were stoning him, Stephen prayed. Check this out. This is the most amazing prayer that you're going to find outside of what Jesus prayed. Ready? Check this out. He said, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. And then he cried out and fell on his knees. And he said, Lord, do not hold this sin against them. And when he said this, he fell asleep. And he didn't wake up. But he said, Lord, don't hold this sin against them. He was saying that as the members of the Sanhedrin and all the people that were lying about him were throwing rocks at him. Really, really sad. At the same time, it might teach us all a lesson that we all have a choice to make. Are we going to stand when times are really hard and difficult? People are mocking you for your love for Jesus. Are you going to stand strong like Stephen no matter what? No matter what it's going to cost you? Maybe it's going to cost you some pride. Maybe it's going to cost you something else. Maybe it's going to cost you some friends. They're going to leave you because you used to believe in one thing, but God's really called you to be something else. To be a rock. Not the kind of rock that we throw at people, but be the rock that Peter was, that Jesus called Peter. And say, and you are going to be the rock that I build my church. Are you going to be that rock? Well, I hope so. Are you going to do this or that when it comes to that decision that you have to make for God? We have an amazing power verse, by the way. We have an amazing power verse. It's got to be one of my favorite books of the Bible here. 1 Timothy chapter 4. This is 1 Timothy chapter 4. We're going to put this on screen right now. And I want you to say this out loud. You ready? Say this out loud. So it's going to be on screen. There it is. There it is. Here it is. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. 1 Timothy 4:12. You know what, guys? I've had a blast with this. And this is just week 1 of this or that series. There's a lot more to come of people who have really hard choices to make, but God's going to help them through it. In the meantime, I think I've made my choice here. I think I'm going to go with, you know what? Both of them. I'll just drink water for lunch today, okay? I'm going to have both of these. Until next week, I'm going to see you then. But make sure you come back. Come see us every time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.